Truly, a bunch of lunatics, paranoid, crazy, and self-righteously pulling off some self-sacrifice. But that's what makes it interesting. Wow, those chilling words spoken from the absolute shadows really set the perfect stage for our journey today. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're dissecting a truly catastrophic event, and we'll be looking at the invisible strings pulling these characters from the dark. Let's get right into it.
So our main focus today, the blood-stained night and the anatomy of a massacre. To really grasp the heavy emotional weight of this night, we've got to put ourselves directly into the shoes of a young Sasuke Uchiha. Imagine it's July, Konoha year 56. You're running through your own neighborhood, right? But the usual chirping of summer insects, completely silent. As you run, this creeping, inexplicable unease just grips your heart. You act on pure instinct and rush toward home. But man, it is way too quiet, unnervingly so. And then you see it, scattered kunai on the ground. Dark red blood splattered against the walls you've known your whole life, and lifeless figures just lying there. Dad? Mom? Fear washes over you like absolute ice water. Your legs feel incredibly weak, but you force yourself to just keep running. This right here is the visceral terror of a child discovering their entire world has just been erased in a flash.
So how exactly does an entire, highly powerful clan just get erased in a single night? Well, you have to understand, this wasn't some random assault. It was a highly coordinated surgical strike. At exactly midnight, a masked man in the shadows neutralizes the police elites. Boom. By 12:15 a.m., Danzo's root forces silently secure the entire perimeter. They are making absolutely sure not a single member escapes. And the interior? Well, that's left to Itachi Uchiha, who is personally cleaning up his own bloodline. The coordination here is absolute. All soft thoughts are just stripped away. I mean, think about this. Itachi actually had prepared a new set of shuriken for Sasuke's 8th birthday. He was hoping to see his brother's bright, proud smile. But instead, his pitch-black pupils morph into a sea of crimson. 3 tomoes slowly rotating, totally devoid of human emotion. He just says, "Let's begin," and blends right into the darkness.
Now, out in the streets, absolute violent chaos is reigning supreme. Picture a bleary-eyed man named Kenta, opening his door to complain about the noise, only to have his throat slashed by his revered young clan head before his brain can even process what's happening. We're talking screams, cries of alarm, the sharp clashing of blades. Lights are being flipped on and then extinguished in an instant. The masked man, Obito, is literally dragging Sharingan-wielding elites into a space-time vortex before they can even graze his clothes. You have a young mother clutching a baby, kneeling in a pool of blood, frantically begging for her innocent child's life. And then, a kunai just sweeps past, the mother and infant totally silenced. But if you step away from that visceral street butchery and into the clan grounds, there is this suffocating quiet finality. As the clamor outside fades into dead silence, Itachi is facing his final, absolute hardest task at his parents' home. The air in there is so heavy it's suffocating, completely isolated from the chaotic violence happening just outside. You might be wondering, why did Itachi become this incredibly precise killing machine? Look closely at his methods here. With his cold Mangekyo Sharingan active, he is using every single technique his clan was so proud of. The shuriken, the kunai, genjutsu, basically as butcher's knives. Every single strike goes straight for the vitals. No redundant movements at all. Zero hesitation. Why couldn't he spare that mother and her baby? Because Danzo and the Root were watching. The masked man was watching. In Itachi's eyes, any survivor immediately becomes a death warrant for Sasuke down the line. For Sasuke to live, even if it meant forcing him into the identity of an Avenger, Itachi had to perform this horrific act to the absolute extreme. The blood of his entire clan was literally the horrific pavement being laid down for his younger brother's future.
Which brings us to arguably the most heartbreaking confrontation of the entire night. Let's step into that dimly lit room with Itachi. The metallic smell of blood just instantly fills the space. And yet, his father, Fugaku, doesn't even look back at first. His voice is surprisingly, almost impossibly calm. He just says, "Are you back? Itachi? Where's Sasuke?" Hearing that Sasuke is completely safe at school, Fugaku slowly turns around. He doesn't activate his Sharingan, not at all. He just looks at his eldest son, a son he was so immensely proud of, with these calm eyes that have just seen through everything. There is no questioning, no scolding, absolutely no resistance.
And this is where we see this really crucial, agonizingly silent communication between father and son. Fugaku tells him, "From the day you chose to become a double agent, I knew that you would eventually face an incredibly cruel choice. And now, You have chosen the village. He is stating the reality so clearly. It's a father's profound confirmation of his son's final, impossible decision. You can practically see Itachi's knuckles turning stark white from gripping his kunai so hard. He can't even bring himself to look directly at his father's overly calm gaze, or his mother's silent, heavy grief. But you know what's crazy? Fugaku's face shows absolutely no hatred, only this deep relief, and a really tragic kind of approval. And this right here is where Itachi's emotional dam finally completely breaks. The heads of the Uchiha clan are using their own lives as a final bargaining chip. Fugaku says with this determined tenderness, "Don't hurt Sasuke. This is our only condition." And then his mother, Mikoto, softly adds, "Itachi, after this, it will be just you. Take good care of yourself." Wow. Hearing that, in his crimson Sharingan, tears finally just well up uncontrollably, sliding right down Itachi's blood-stained cheeks. All of his rigidly held strength just collapses in that moment. Under the warm, flickering light of the lamps, the cold metal of the kunai flashes one last time. But sadly, the nightmare of this night isn't over. Sasuke finally arrives just around the corner, desperately crying out for his big brother as if he's seeing his savior. He's yelling, "Everyone, what happened to everyone?" But the words just die in his throat. He looks up and sees Itachi. But those aren't the gentle black pupils he grew up with. Instead, he is staring into a blood-red background etched with cold, eerie patterns, shaped like shuriken. It's the Mangekyo Sharingan. And what makes Sasuke's blood totally freeze is the dripping kunai right there in his brother's hand. "My foolish little brother," Itachi says, and his voice is just colder than the night wind itself. Before Sasuke's brain can even begin to comprehend this horror, that blood-red color completely overtakes his entire field of vision. The world aggressively spins, and suddenly, he finds himself tied to a massive cross. He's been yanked right into the Tsukiyomi space. Now, for those who might not remember, this is a sinister, severely distorted mental realm where time is stretched infinitely. And here, Itachi brutally forces his little brother to witness over and over and over again, from the absolute clearest angles, how their parents were murdered by that very kunai. With every single repetition, the pain, the fear, the sheer despair cut so deep into Sasuke's bones, completely pushing him to the absolute brink of a total mental breakdown. Sasuke is screaming, "Why are you doing this?" And Itachi, standing before him, looking like a demon god totally devoid of emotion, delivers this incredibly twisted, desperate logic that is going to completely define the rest of Sasuke's life. He says, "If you want to kill me, then resent me, hate me, then live on in an unsightly way, run as hard as you can, and cling to life as best you can." Think about what he's doing here. He is literally using absolute mental devastation to forge an impenetrable survival armor of pure hatred for Sasuke. Back in reality, Sasuke just falls straight backward, completely unconscious from the extreme psychological trauma. And as Itachi stands there looking down at his little brother's pale, tear-stained face, behind those cold Mangekyo eyes, a single tear finally slides down uncontrollably. Desperately masking his own excruciating pain, Itachi vanishes into the night. So let's zoom out for a second to the incredibly cold, calculated political aftermath of all this. While Sasuke's entire universe is shattered into a million pieces, Danzo is looking at the Uchiha grounds with these burning eyes, literally seeing nothing but a vast supply of replaceable Sharingan to harvest. It's completely sickening. But the masked man steps in, directly warning Danzo that he better ensure Sasuke's safety, or else village intelligence is getting sold straight to their enemies. Meanwhile, over in the Hokage office, the atmosphere is so heavy you could cut it with a knife. The third Hokage is just staring at this blood-stained teenager. Itachi officially agrees to infiltrate this highly dangerous organization, the Akutsuki, playing the role of a traitor to monitor them from the inside. Hiruzen Sarutobi promises to protect Sasuke, and with that, Itachi transforms into a flock of crows, just dissipating into the dark. All that's left in the room is the flickering light of the Hokage's pipe, illuminating a face that is just absolutely filled with shock and deep regret. Which really poses a massive, almost agonizing moral dilemma for us to chew on. Is this actually an extreme form of the will of fire? I mean, really think about it. This youth slaughtered his entire extended family, intentionally inflicted endless burning hatred onto his only brother just to use it as fuel for his growth, and willingly took on the permanent name of a traitor. And all of this was done to protect the village. Hiruzen, a guy who had literally written books on the will of fire, feels his own heart skip a beat here. He realizes Itachi didn't just move beyond the paranoid, intense, obsessive traits of the Uchiha. He actually performed those traits to the absolute, pathological extreme. It is a burning obsession that terrifies even the Hokage himself.
But hold on, because here is the ultimate meta-narrative twist of this whole explainer. While the Hokage is trembling and Itachi is weeping in the shadows, someone else is watching the entire thing unfold. Aizen, a soul from completely outside this world, just sitting back, legs crossed on an invisible sofa in an absolute hidden space. He is floating there, watching this horrific tragedy play out like it's just an entertaining theater play. He watches the brutal deaths, he watches Sasuke totally collapse, he even watches Itachi's single tear fall. And with this playful, chilling smile, he just whispers, "Truly, a bunch of lunatics."
See, Aizen isn't just watching this for his own entertainment. He actually possesses a terrifying cheat. It's called the Deception and Emotional Harvesting System. Basically, as long as Aizen successfully modifies the perceptions of the ninja world, meaning as long as someone out there believes his lies, he reaps the benefits. And the emotional buildup from tonight, it is absolutely perfect. The script is ready. Aizen just stretches out, his eyes flashing with dark calculation, completely ready to start modifying everyone's perception to suit his own selfish interests. He is literally going to farm the intense emotional fallout of this massacre. The very next day, dawn breaks over Konoha. The official news spreads through the streets like a wildfire. The Uchiha clan has been wiped out, and the culprit is none other than the rogue ninja Uchiha Itachi. The entire village is just set ablaze with the news. The various major clans react with this subtle, terrified unification, choosing to remain completely silent, while the civilian class just erupts in shock. The meticulously crafted lie becomes the official truth. And honestly, it leaves us with this final, really provocative thought to ponder. We've just witnessed the horrific hidden truth of love, duty, and sacrifice. But when individuals like Danzo and entities like Aizen are operating in the absolute shadows, modifying perceptions and harvesting human emotions, how much of history, how much of the truth you're told is actually just a script written by someone pulling the strings? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Until next time, definitely keep questioning what you see.